Hello, this is Eddie Laporte, and this is the Project Atlas 2020 Peer Review Grant Guideline Overview. So Project Atlas is designed to provide capacity building and internal infrastructure development to emerging faith and community-based organizations who have a budget between $0 and $10,000. The maximum request for funding is $10,000. So this is a quick overview, and I'm not going to get into the weeds of the application, but I will give you broad stroke information. Applicants must be a faith and community-based organization serving low-income residents. Their agency-wide budget cannot exceed $10,000. They must be in good standing with the Department of Treasury. They must have been in existence for about a year. They must be willing to actively participate in mandatory training and technical assistance sessions. They must have an active board or advisory board who have met at least once in the past year. And we'll talk more about that when we talk about the leadership team. The organization must include a street address where meetings are held and services provided, and they must be able to provide direct service or is in collaboration with another organization in providing such services. So we define capacity building as an organization's ability to identify and prioritize its development goals and achieve specific improvements that help the organization effectively fulfill its mission. We define sustainability as the long-term stability and viability of the organization in the community. Now, Project Atlas. Atlas stands for Applied Training Lasting Solutions. Project Atlas applicants must establish a high-performance work team. Now, this work team can be comprised of however many individuals they want. The minimum is 3, at least 3. Now, and the work team is if they don't have a board or an advisory council, the work team can be the foundation of what can become their advisory board or the beginning development of their board of directors. Now, specific examples of Project Atlas capacity building and activities which will be customized to the needs of the organization are developing effective boards and board governance processes, building the skills and stewardship of abilities of executive leaders, developing and implementing long-term strategic plans, enhancing technological capacity, building partnerships and collaboration with other community organizations, and learning how to evaluate, document, and improve the outcomes and impacts of their services. Okay? Budget expenses for the grantee will be aligned with the developmental needs of the organizations, and it can fall under leadership development, organizational development, program development, and community engagement. One of the things that you'll have to look at when you're evaluating the application is the readiness assessment. But a readiness assessment is to help them build and identify, to help them understand and inform us, the reader, you, that they are willing to participate in Project Atlas. And the questions, it's on a Likert scale from 1 to 5, where it asks them various issues about the organization. So let me share what a readiness assessment looks like. Let's see if I can find it. Here we go. So this is the readiness assessment that they have downloaded and uploaded. So the first, it's about 11 questions. Establish a leadership team that will spend approximately 20 hours working with a capacity building coach to receive technical assistance, conduct organizational sustainability, and Either they're ready to do that or they're not ready to do that. And if they're not ready to do that, one, then they would have to add additional information that states what will they need to do in order to be ready. The second question, assure that members of the leadership team attend all required meeting, training, and conferences. Well, is the leadership team ready to participate in all meetings and training and conferences, or they're not? Either they're not or they are. 5, they are. And if they're not, then they need to indicate what they need to do in order to get ready. Number 3, implement your capacity building work plan to institute the organizational improvement your leadership team has prioritized. Now, so the leadership team will prioritize a work plan based on their application, but that doesn't necessarily mean that's the work plan they're going to move forward on, especially when they start working with a coach. So, are they ready to move forward with the work plan they prioritize? Either they're not ready and indicate why they're not ready, or they are ready. So all the other questions focus on their readiness. Will they maintain ongoing communication with the capacity building coach? How did they, are they willing to learn about gaining greater access to information, resources, and community assets? Are they willing to develop their skills and knowledge in the effective operation of social service organizations? Are they willing to expand and diversify their sources of funding and delivery of social services? Will they build collaboration and partnerships and create greater interconnectedness with FBCOs to contribute to the community capacity to better serve those in need? Excuse me. Do they have adequate access to computers and high-speed internet? And what and how do we make that happen? Do they maintain accurate records, and if they don't, what's missing in order to make that happen? And will they apply what they've learned in the development of capacity and sustainability of their organization after Project Atlas? So this is the Project Atlas readiness assessment. So when you review this, you'll say to yourself, okay, yeah, this organization seems to be ready. They're practically stating 4 and 5. And so, they kind of get it, right? So let's go back to the grant guidelines. Oops. Let me see. All right. So in the application, the applicants must demonstrate a thorough understanding of Project Atlas. Like what is it, what's being asked of them, and are they willing to participate? And the readiness assessment gives you a snapshot of what's being asked of them and whether they're willing to participate. All right, so the application requirements. So project summary. In this section, you want to be looking for how they describe the organization's mission, history, and experience in providing social services to the community. You want to be able to, they should be able to, they should indicate to you the number of years that they've been in existence, the number of people they served, and the type of services they provided. They should also provide a description of the organization's leadership team and clearly explain their understanding of Project Atlas, of the Atlas grant. So when you finish reading this section, you should be aware that, one, I understand the mission and history. I understand they've been here a couple of years providing services, and they fully understand what Project Atlas means to them, and they have committed to it. Organizational capacity, the next section. They need to be able to provide a brief history and governing structure of the organization and its capacity needs. This is where they begin to list what are their needs in terms of what Project Atlas offers. This should not be focusing on the capacity needs of their ability to implement the program. They should be able to provide a description of the makeup of the board of directors, if they have one. If they don't, they should state that they don't have one. Because if they don't have one, this is why they need Project Atlas. They should be able to provide a description of the executive staff. Who are they? What are their titles and roles associated to the identified titles? And it should be able to describe the organization's strategic plan and where the organization is relative to the plan's plan of action. So they should be able to say, if they have one, this is our strategic plan, and if they don't have one, if they were savvy enough, they would think of one and put it on paper and put it in Sage, so that it shows that they were forced to think about it. The readiness assessment. We already talked about the readiness assessment. You'll get a copy of the blank readiness assessment, but you'll be reviewing their readiness assessment that will be uploaded under required appendices. Statement of need. In this section, we're asking the applicant to review the results of the readiness assessment and summarize the organization's need to strengthen long-term sustainability and build capacity to serve the community. The statement of need should not be focusing on the social issue that needs to be addressed and why it needs to be addressed. The statement of need needs to focus on the readiness assessment. Again, they're going to list the members of the proposed Project Atlas leadership team, including their name, official title, and relationship to the organization. They should briefly summarize each team member's number of years and nature of experience and the assets they bring to their respective leadership team. And they should attach a resume or something akin to a resume under appendices for each person on the leadership team. Statement of collaboration. Describe the three main collaborating relationships and how those relationships will impact the organization's ability to implement the proposed project. They will implement the project. And this statement of collaboration lets us get a sense of, are they collaborating with local nonprofits in the community or other institutions that will help them implement their project? Project design. Now, this is key. They need to be able to provide a detailed description of the social service program that they plan to implement using OFBI funding. So the Project Atlas has two approaches. One, we're assessing the capacity of the organization, and also we're looking to see how they're thinking about implementing a pilot project using OFBI funding. Now, they needed to upload two logic models. One logic model will focus on the organizational capacity issues, and the other logic model will focus on the pilot project that they want to implement. So when you're reading the sections about capacity building and sustainability, you should be looking at the logic model that focuses on organizational capacity to see if those concepts that they're writing about in terms of capacity building, sustainability, align with the logic model. When you're looking at the project design for the pilot project, you need to be looking at the logic model that is written, that focuses on the pilot, the social service that they want to implement. You should be able to describe the population that they're targeting, gender, race, income, educational status, and the like. Capacity building goals. So in this section, we're looking at the capacity building goals. I'm not asking for what are the goals of the pilot project. We're asking for the capacity building goals. They need to be able to present a preliminary list of capacity building goals that may be included in their sustainability work plan. They need to be able to identify the priorities for capacity building and why they are important. They need to be able to indicate the specific impacts the organization will have on the community after participating in Project Atlas 2020. So the preliminary list of capacity building goals that may be included in their sustainability work plan should be in the capacity building line, should be stated somewhere in the capacity building logic model. The priority of the capacity building and why they're important should be indicated in their capacity building logic model. Evaluation. How will they measure and to what extent the organizational and program goals have been achieved? Well, in this section, when you look at the logic model and you look at the impact column should be able to tell you, if we're able to garner these resources for example for organizational capacity, if we're able to garner these resources and participate in these activities, these are the outputs goals that we think we'll have to address, and these are the outcomes, objectives that we think will be derived. The impact is really how they're able to evaluate the success of their capacity building, training, and technical assistance. The same thing with their pilot project. If they're able to garner these resources, if they're able to implement these activities, then they should have these certain outputs for their pilot project. And based on these outputs, which are goals, they should be able to have these outcomes, which are objectives. And based on these outputs and outcomes, the impact column they should be able to use the impact column as a gauge to determine whether they've been successful in the implementation of their pilot project that's addressing a particular social issue. Sustainability. What plans will be in place to ensure access to human, financial, and technological resources? This may be challenging for them. They may not have a well thought out process, but we want them to be thinking about, what funding opportunities might they go after that help them enhance their capacity, either in board development, staff development, executive leadership development, strategic planning development, board recruitment and retention plan, developing a board recruitment and retention plan, et cetera, et cetera. In terms of sustainability for the pilot project, what funding opportunities might be out there that support the pilot project that they want to implement? And are there any opportunities for them to apply for funding moving forward? Now, the budget. They need to be able to complete all the budget forms in Sage. They have a maximum capacity of $2,000 for technology. They'll be able to have $1,500 for administrative costs. They'll also be able to provide $2,000 for staff development. Now, in the technical assistance training, we told them to budget $5,000 for capacity building and coaching opportunities. And so those that did paid attention, and those that didn't, if they get approved, we will, the office, work with them to reallocate their budget to include the $5,000 for coaching, right? Required appendices. In this section, they should have uploaded their 990 so that you get a sense of what their overall agency budget is. Remember, it can't exceed $10,000, but if it's 10,000, 500, we could work with that. If it's above that, then, and if it's above 10,000, give or take a couple of thousand, we could work with that. The organizational chart may be there for you to help you decide whether they understand the capacity building organization and how they see their organization in terms of its structure. The budget narrative should be a simple one-page narrative, and it should be indicating to you and to us how did they arrive to the numbers that they arrived to in their budget. And of course, the logic model. They should have two. One logic model that focuses on the capacity building side of the organization, and another logic model that focuses on the pilot project that's addressing a particular social issue. All right. So that's kind of the overview of Project Atlas 2020. Remember that you guys have a total of 4 applications that you'll be reviewing, and you're scheduled to deliberate on June 5th from 1 to 4. As stated in our previous emails, we are not doing face-to-face deliberations. We are using Zoom conferencing for that. And so in order for you to participate in the deliberation, you should have a laptop or PC with a video camera and access to the internet. If you don't have a laptop or PC with a video camera, you can download and you have a smartphone, you can download the app for Android and Apple, and you can download the Zoom app for Android and Apple, and you can use your smartphone as a video camera. We also suggest that you download the Zoom installer for your PC or laptop. It makes the connection to Zoom a lot easier. You don't have to do it, but it makes it a lot easier. All right, so I want to thank you. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to call Kaisha Harris at, hold on, 609-341-2737, 609-341-2737, or Cynthia Fentress at 609-984-6763, 609-984-6763. I want to thank you for listening in, and I want to thank you for providing us with your experience, strength, and expertise in evaluating the Project Atlas applicants. Thank you.